Swim check 1, 2. Bike check 1, 2. Run check 1, 2. I think we're ready. Let's try this. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, a podcast where we explore the sport of triathlon from a variety of perspectives to help beginner triathletes on their journey. I am your host, Mashonda Shines. Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of Try Beginner's Luck. I am so excited. Again, we are knocking these episodes out, and I think I'm really getting excited because I'm going to be on summer break soon and we will not be recording, and I am just really thrilled for that. I think that this season has been one that has challenged me in so many ways. It's challenged me in so many ways. And as a triathlete, we have to learn how to transition well. And some days I have had to just do nothing. And other days I'm able to do 15,000 things. But the one thing that I've learned in this season or two is how important rest is and working from a place of rest, and how integral recovery is. Mind-blowing, y'all, like mind-blowing. And so working from a place of rest, we can be so hurried in this world and so busy and being bogged down with the things of the world that we lose focus and lose track of what really matters. And sometimes if we just take a step back, we can get more done when we have rested. A lot more done, actually. And secondly, you've heard me talk about this a couple of times, but recovery is wild. I have decided that I love the foam roller, and I actually sit on the foam roller at night to watch TV, and it's beautiful. It's great, and I feel good. And so I just want to encourage you. We are at the halfway mark of the year. Okay, so technically we're still in May, but this will air sometime in June. So June is like the halfway mark, June, July. And take a moment, rest this summer, even if it's a staycation. Take a moment to do nothing on one day, take a Sabbath, do something and recover well. Because when you recover well, you can come back stronger and able to withstand a little bit more. So that's my hope for you as we're entering in this halfway mark. And I have a new guest. Of course you do, Rashonda. So earlier this year, I got a phone call or an email from a new employee at USA Triathlon. And I was like, oh, their name is the same as another person's name who was in the same role. And I was like, oh, I guess if your name is blank, you are going to be in this role. That was my little joke. But in all seriousness, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access is such a huge, huge area of concentration. And even in a world where in some places they are trying to dismantle DEIA efforts, I am really ecstatic and proud to see that USA Triathlon is doubling down on those efforts. And you can't do that without someone leading the charge. And so I get to bring to the podcast a newbie. Yes, y'all, she is a new triathlete, just doing her first triathlon in 2023. She just graduated with her master's in social work. She is about her business and stands on it for sure, or I should say for show. But most importantly, she is leading the diversity, equity, inclusion, and access efforts as the manager, DEIA Manager at USA Triathlon. Welcome to the Try Beginner's Luck podcast, Miss Megan Zablock. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for
here.
Thank you for coming on. It's always an honor. I always like to try to incorporate some aspects of USA Triathlon in the podcast because I think it's so important. I remember 10 years ago, I didn't even know USAT existed. It was a
Me
foreign
either,
entity,
probably, honestly. Yeah.
right? It's a foreign entity. So,
Yeah.
welcome. With that said, let's jump right into your experience. What made you decide to do a triathlon last year? And did you know that you were going to apply for a job at USAT, or you just did it because you just wanted to try?
Not at all. I just wanted to try. So I've been an athlete my entire life. And some friends of friends, they're big Ironman people, and they were like, "You all should, do a triathlon," to me and some friends. And we just signed up for just a sprint, kind of local. It was like an hour and a half from my hometown of Chicago, and spent the summer training. I love to be outdoors in the summer, so my training was all outdoors, which was awesome. And yeah, just kind of did it. Had no idea I was going to apply for a job, but had a blast doing it. And was in a career transition at the time. I was coming out of the business world and just graduated with my social work master's, and so was looking to figure out, how do I fit my business skills with my social work passion and my love of sports, right? And I was like, that was really fun. I love that triathlon, and I wonder if they have jobs. And so I looked on their website, and they were hiring for this role, and here I am, 9 months later or whatever it is. So yeah, kind of wild.
Let's go a little deeper. What triathlon were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing the Lake Geneva Fontana triathlon.
Ah,
Yeah, so again, it was me and a couple friends, and I think having a friend with me really helped. I'm very motivated by teamwork. All of my sports were teams, and I never want to let people down, let the team down. So having each other through it made it a lot more fun too.
and you went to school. You played softball in college, right?
I did. I played on the club team at the University of Illinois, back home. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
Hence, not wanting to let your teammates down.
exactly. Yeah, always been a big team player. Softball was my main sport growing up, and yeah, just that was awesome. And now I'm figuring out in post softball times, what's my sport going to be? And triathlon, it is, I suppose, right?
So I just had a realization
Okay.
that I think my fan was on the whole time. But y'all, I apologize in advance if you heard that fan in the background. I feel like I was having a personal summer, so y'all excuse me. Okay. All right. So back to our regular
I was gonna
schedule
say, I'm not
program.
hearing it, but it sounds good on
Ooh,
my end. Yeah.
back to our regular schedule. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm getting so cool now. Anyway, I tell you,
It's
being
summertime, you got to cool off.
yes, and I haven't put the air on yet, and we've gone from like 50 degrees to 90. Like,
Yeah,
give us some transition, please.
I know. That's how
Give us some.
Chicago summers are too. It's like one day freezing, and then it's like, we're in Chicago summer. Everyone get ready. It's 90 degrees every day. So yeah.
Right. Anyway, all right. So Lake Geneva is where you did your first. What
Yeah.
was it like training? Because you were getting your MSM and just finished. So how long? Well, let me back up. How long did you train, and what was your training like?
Yeah. So I graduated with my master's in May, my social work master's, and then kind of spent the summer training. Honestly, just didn't follow a super formal training plan. Like I said, I love to be outside in the summer. We get like a 3-month window in Chicago, where you can get outside, and so I get outside as much as I can. So I would do runs with friends. We would meet twice a week in the morning at like 6 or 7 a.m. before work, and just run the path in Chicago, which was really fun. And then biking, I would bike the lake path in Chicago because it's beautiful there in the summer. And then swimming, I would just kind of piece it together, honestly. So I had some friends that stayed in apartments with pools. So I'd be like, hey, can I use your pool for a quick swim tonight after we hang out? Or I'd meet my friend out of the public pool in the suburbs. So really, I didn't have like a formal plan. I just tried to stay as active as possible and tried to piece together the 3 different things I knew I'd need to train for, and do them as often as I could.
Interesting. And I think that's okay. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to have a whole planned out everything, especially if you're doing like you said, a sprint, you can get by with just doing a little bit, especially when you already have that like athletic background. So that definitely helps to bolster the fitness because you already have like a baseline of fitness coming into it.
For sure. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, one part of my training that was not necessarily triathlon training, but some friends and I walked a portion of it's called the Camino de Santiago. It's a hike in Spain. And we were on it for 10 days and it's about, you average about 15 miles a day. So just getting that endurance training in, we did that last June, and that kind of also got me really excited to come back and like stay in that active, motivated mindset.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So here we are at race day. Take us through waking up in the morning and arriving to the race site.
Oh, okay. All right. So we rented a place because it was like an hour and a half from Chicago. So I don't think I really slept that night before because I was just like had never experienced it before and kept waking up. I think we got up at like 4 or something. And there were 3 of us friends, we all, met up and we're trying to find parking. It's like dark and it's raining and we have our bikes and we're like, what do we do? Where do we go? And so found some parking, got over to the place where you check in and get your stuff. And we're like grabbing our bikes along with us. My one friend like didn't even have a bike, had to go like borrow one from a friend the night before or something. So, we were all, again, we're talking beginners here. We're definitely beginners in the sport. And we're like asking people, what do we do with this bike? And, so found the spot, put the bike there. We're all hanging out and, yeah, then we hear the guy in the loudspeaker start announcing. Again, none of us had been to any event, so we're like, what do we do now? They're like announcing the waves. So one of our friends, he was in the men's heat that was starting, and he's like, oh, I think that's me. I gotta go. So we like give him a high five, and he runs off, and then my friend and I get ready for the women's section, and yeah, so that was the prep. You just asked about prep. Should I go through the full day for you, or what are you thinking?
Oh, you sure can. I was going to get to that next. I just
Yeah,
wanted
no,
to
you go. You
kind
tell
of
me. You lead
piecemeal it,
me.
but
You're the expert.
but listen, if you want to keep moving on telling your story, please do. But I was just going to help slow walk us in,
Yeah,
and you
yeah,
might
yeah.
be on
Walk
a
us through
different
it.
rhythm.
No, no,
So,
no. Walk us through it because again, as a newbie, I feel like there's we didn't know what we didn't know, right?
mhm.
I borrowed a wetsuit from a friend. Like we're borrowing all this stuff and like texting in groups, being like, can anyone get us some gear to help us do this thing we signed up for, 5 months ago? So yeah. Um, but it was fun. We had a blast. So that's what matters most.
Now we need to get into this blast that you had. So we're here. Your friend has gone off because the guys are gone off. The ladies are having to go off. So what was the swim like? What was Lake Geneva like? Give us a descriptive of what was it like? Was it kind of beautiful and clear-ish like Lake Michigan is? Or yeah, give
Yeah,
us
it's
a
funny that you should say like Michigan is like that. So I had a couple friends doing the Chicago Triathlon last year and they had to cancel the swim because Lake Michigan was so wavy and chaotic. So I was like kind of freaked out. I was like, is that what it's going to be like here? But not at all. I think because it was so early, the water was like perfectly like glass. It was very peaceful. I think the swim was what I was most nervous about just because I haven't spent a ton of time practicing swimming in my life. But my friend and I were kind of like, we'll stick together and, see how we go, how we do. And it actually went by super fast. It went by way faster than I expected. We just did a big lap kind of out through the lake and around, and then you come back up on the sand. And yeah, we would, like I would keep looking back to make sure my friend was doing okay. And we'd keep just checking on each other. But, we both finished kind of middle of the pack in the swim, and we were feeling good. And so yeah, that was fun. Should I keep going here?
you sure can. I'm just going to take the brakes off. Tell
Yeah,
us about your transition,
yeah.
your bike, T2, your run, and crossing the finish line.
Okay, cool. So then we get out and we had like packed a bag with like, some snacks, and we were new to all this. So we're like, what do we do with these shoes? And all the stuff we have to switch into. So we get out and I'm waiting for my friend, and then she comes up to our bike area and we just both, switch into tennis shoes, or I think I wore bike shoes. She had just tennis shoes on, and we grab our bikes, and I think we maybe had a snack or something, or a quick granola bar, and then follow we didn't even know where to go. You know, they're like volunteers. Everyone's so nice and helpful. We're like, okay, we got our bikes. What do we do now? You know, and the course in Lake Geneva, surprisingly, because the Midwest is known to be very flat, but this course was quite hilly on the bike. But it was awesome. Biking's by far my favorite part. So I really like biking. So we had fun with that. It takes you out through like I don't know, kind of like the beautiful fields. And there were actually people, this was funny, like that live along the course, sitting in like lawn chairs cheering for us. And you know, my friend and I tried to stay together. So she was trying to figure out this new bike, or this bike that she borrowed like from a friend. So we would kind of stop and have to like figure out how the gears on her bike works because it was really old. And but then we, you know, we kept going and turned the circle and came back around. And then, yeah, so then we had to run, right? So then we come in through the place to put the bikes back. We go in there and again, we're like, okay, so what do we do now? You know, and put on the running shoes and just kind of ask people, hey, where's it start? And again, everyone's super nice on the course and they kind of point us in the direction. And again, the run part, super hilly as well. So that was an interesting finish. My friend was having shin splints because she'd been training so much for the Chicago Marathon. So we definitely like would slow down or walk at different parts, just because she, you know, wanted to keep her training up and keep her body in good condition. So yeah, did that, completed that, met some like cool people along the way, right? As the people are coming back, they're like high-fiving at us and they're like, you're almost done, you can do it. And so it's, yeah, it's a cool community where everyone's just, you know, excited for each other. And then, yeah, came across the finish line, and actually was feeling really good. I was like, oh, I kind of wish I did. And again, I might live to regret this, but I'm like, oh, I kind of wish I did the full one. Like I've got a lot of energy. And I think like the energy of like a race day, or like, again, like I said, I played softball. So like a big game day or the excitement of having so many people around just like keeps you going. At least for me, it does. Like energy is like, it's known to be contagious. And for me, it certainly is, especially in the sporting environment. So yeah, but I mean, we were proud to just finish what we did. So, and we had a fun time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The vibes of the people, the energy that is emitted is definitely contagious and can definitely lift you and keep giving you like that boost that you need. Um, I think one of the things that I appreciated is that you said, I had so much energy left over, I could have done the full. And you did. You did a full triathlon.
True. Good point.
Yeah,
I think I
you
meant
did.
like we had
The
a friend
Olympic.
that did the Olympic. Yeah. Good point. Thank you for
Yeah,
recognizing that. Yeah,
yeah,
we gotta
yeah, yeah,
recognize where you start. Yeah. But it was
yeah.
cool that to have energy left over after and be like, I'd love to try the next distance. So yeah.
So is the next distance next? Like, what's next now?
I don't know. So a coworker and I signed up for the Boulder Triathlon in July. So we're currently training for the sprints there. And then potentially do the Olympic do an Olympic somewhere in the fall. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I think like having people to train with also is a huge thing for me. So the fact that we like signed up together, like we're doing a bike today after work. Um, Again, just finding that team atmosphere, because even though it's like a individual sport, I feel like there is so much community in it, and like community is what motivates me, obviously in sport and in this job, right? So I think yeah, having different people to go biking with, or there's a run club that someone started at work, so it's fun to go on runs with them. And you know, yeah, just having people to get active with is really important to me.
So I'm going to digress a little bit just because I hear you talking about the work atmosphere at
Mhm.
USAT and you guys have this run group, the bike group, and all these great extracurricular activities to stay fit and active. And what is it like to be in this environment that is so accessible to have community right there? Because I don't know if you guys have, I'm sure you have teams, tri teams in Colorado where you are, but what is it like to be able to say, hey, you want to go for a lunchtime ride, or hey, you want to go for a lunchtime run or swim? Like you have
Yeah.
it right there at your disposal.
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, it's amazing. I like having community is so important to me. It's something I, was really seeking for in my next job. I think I was telling you before we came on, I came out of sales, which I loved my team, but the majority of my day was spent alone. So to walk into a job where there's people around every day and people that want to do similar things that I want to do, like get active, um, is amazing. Yeah. Like let's just go for a quick run on our lunch break or bike after work or um I think that's huge, right? Like we can push each other to be the best versions of ourselves. And I think the people you spend your time with, like that's who you become. So you want to be around people that are energizing and positive and encouraging you to try new things and to push yourself to the try, right? I got it. Get like your podcast. Try new things, try a triathlon, try going for a new hike, try whatever it is, even just moving out here, meeting so many different active people, I think is really cool. And it's a good space for me to be in.
I'm glad you figured it out all on
Uh-huh,
your own.
try. How many
Yeah.
times can we say try in the
Yeah.
podcast?
Try like,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Come on, Megan.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's good. I don't, your community matters so much. The environment you choose to put yourself in will dictate the outcomes of the things that you want and desire. And so, if
Mhm.
you want to live a very healthy and fit life, I think that's why it's important to be around people who are the same, because otherwise you're going to emulate those who you are around, because it's easy to sit on the couch.
Yeah.
And it's really easy to eat those elote Trader Joe's corn chips.
Those are
Yes.
wait, you like those chips too? I love those chips.
I have a
I
problem
forgot
with
about
those
those
chips.
chips. Now you're gonna make me go buy those chips again.
Do not do that. Do not start
Yeah.
on that
Oh my
trend. That
gosh.
would not
Yeah.
be, that is a downward slope. And I don't want to lead you downward. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those chips are clutch in
Yeah.
certain times,
They
especially,
are. They
you
are.
know, anyway, it's easy to eat the chips and sit on the couch. That's the
Yeah.
easy part, but it does take a little bit of effort to go out and having that accountability of people who want to like,
Mhm.
okay, come on, let's do it. Get in it for 30 minutes. Give it
Yeah.
to me for 5, and just hang in there. And by the time you finish, you've done the workout and it's done. And
Yeah.
when you came in it and you weren't feeling as motivated, but you left and you've done it and you feel great, that's the payoff. Like the payoff is just getting in there and doing it.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's like I try and choose my community based on, yeah, people that are going to push me to be a better person in all aspects of my life, right? That's one of the things I do miss most about Chicago is I have so many amazing friends and family. And luckily I've dragged them out to visit quite a bit because they like to get active too, which is awesome. But yeah, again, finding a work community, a personal community, a triathlon community that you can be yourself in and that pushes you to be a better person and a better athlete, I think is super important.
Yeah. So you graduate with your MSW,
Yes, Master of Social Work.
Masters of Social Work.
Yeah.
You get this job working at USA Triathlon. What has been one of the most joyful parts of coming into this new city, new state, new job, new career?
Um, I promise I am not just saying this because you and I are on a podcast, but when I talk about coming into this job, it's been connecting with the community. Um, right. My job is to how do we grow the sport beyond what it looks like currently? And so I think starting off I task myself with and I'm still tasking myself with this, how can I connect with as many people as possible outward in the community that are already doing the amazing work of growing the sport in areas where it hasn't historically been focused on. And I just, every time I connect with someone new, like yourself, like Merle, like Jordan, like all of the crew that was on the Black History Month panel, people doing things for the neurodiverse and adaptive community, the para community, the LGBTQ community. It's just like amazing to meet these people and hear their passion. I'm really connected through passion, right? You can't do this job and not have passion, and finding others that share similar passion for the work just really excites me. Yeah. And it excites me about what's happening, but more so about what's possible, right? If we tap into all of these great things that are already happening and take them to the next level, how could our community look different?
And what's been one of your biggest hurdles?
I'm still new, so I think that's hard to say. I think people in general are so un well, not all people, but some people are just unopen to change, right? Or to what's different. Um, which is confusing to me because I think change makes us grow, makes us stronger. Learning from different people makes us better people, right? I already know my story and people like me, so I'd rather learn from someone totally different what their experience has been in life, because that will make me a more interesting person if I keep connecting with people that are different than me. But yeah, I think that's a hurdle in any community and anything you're taking on, where you're going from something that looks one way and you want it to look a different way, or you want to grow it in a different way, or you want to, yeah, just have some different ideas and things like that, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, for those who don't understand what the role you play
Mm.
at USA Triathlon, can you give an overview of what it is that you do as the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Access Manager with USA Triathlon?
Yeah. I know all these words. Sometimes people are like, what even is that? Right. Um, I how do I describe it in a high level? So I think one thing that's really important is that I think there's something that everyone can connect to and be passionate about within diversity, equity, inclusion, and access, right? I've talked with so many people across so many different passions, and everyone can find a way to connect in. And so I think what my job is to connect with all these different facets of DEIA, learn from them, learn from what they're doing, learn from these communities, and learn how we can come alongside them in actionable ways to help grow the work that they're doing, right? So I think you and I talked about this when we first met, Mashonda. It's being actionable rather than performative. If you want to see change, you need to take action. So, again, as I started off, it was about listening and learning. How can I gather as many stories from the community that's already out there as I can? And then it's about actually hearing people, understanding their needs, and then hopefully providing a plan that does that, in a wide variety of ways. Be it, one of the biggest barriers we've talked about to this sport is sometimes expenses, access, right? So be it financially, be it equipment, be it education, awareness, connection, right? How do we, if I talk to someone on the East Coast who's doing something really cool, and I hear from someone on the West Coast who wants to implement a similar program, how can I be that center point to bring all these people that are doing amazing work together? Because I really believe there's power in numbers, and this work cannot be done as one person, right? I have this title, but my job doesn't exist without the community like you, being willing to share your stories, being willing to share the work you're already doing, and share what you need, right? Sometimes it's hard to ask for what you need, but advocating for yourself so that, and for your communities and your organizations, so that we can, connect and get your organizations to the next level.
Thank you for sharing that. And you're right. Like, people can't keep saying they want change without at least meeting with you to figure out what that change can look like. So, if people have ideas and suggestions on things that they want to see done or want to talk to you, what's a good place or how should people connect with you?
Yeah, I would say, I'm always willing, and I think I told you this from the start. I'm always willing and wanting to have a conversation. I can't promise everything, right?
Mhm.
Change happens in small steps, but yeah, my phone number or my email, I guess you'd start with like my USAT email, right? So Megan.Zablock at usatriathlon.org. Yeah, having them just reach out. Um, and that's how some people have. They found me, that way. And then we get into a conversation, and then I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, the thing that you're advocating for is the same as this group I talked to yesterday. Let's get us all on a call and going in the same direction, or even like through the podcast we did back in February, like some of you had never met Merle. I had never met Merle, and then we're connecting all these dots and people that want to do similar work. So yeah, I would say email me, and let's get a conversation going. I'm more than happy to jump into those conversations because I want to hear what's going on out there. Because again, being new, there's probably a million things still that I have not touched on that people are doing that's amazing that I want to hear about.
In my profession, we call that closing the triangle. Where
Okay.
you can, you're putting people together, you're connecting them, it's closing the
Yeah.
triangle. And
Yeah.
it's also a form of weaving where you're saying, hey, you're formulating your own network of people and getting people engaged. And so you're weaving them together so that they
Yeah.
can be connected.
Yeah.
I love all of this.
Yes, I love it. And I actually have two actionable steps for people that are like looking to take action today. Can I talk about those for a second?
Sure. I was going to go into some initiatives anyway. So
Oh,
let's,
I didn't mean to
it's
you
okay.
gave me a
No.
weird look there. I'm like, uh-oh.
No, it's
Um,
okay. What are the two actionable steps that people can take today to get engaged and involved?
yeah, well, beyond just emailing me, I feel like, it's gone out in some of our newsletters, and our socials, but we're recruiting for our DEIA committee here. And again, this committee, we want to represent the community. So, it's a group that I'll work with, to inform the work that we'll do to move this sport forward here. So I would encourage people that want to, get involved at the next level to apply, for our DEIA committee so that their voices or the voices of the groups they represent can be heard. Um, and then we're also launching our first two grants, which I am extremely excited about. Our community impact and our Endeavor Try grants. So those will be live on our foundation, USA Triathlon Foundation website. And again, we said, how can we be actionable? And we heard the community say, we need resources to take our organizations and our impact to the next level. And so this is an actionable way to do that. So I'd encourage people that have awesome organizations and groups to apply for these grants, so that we can partner together and get things started to go to the next level.
Now, you mentioned newsletter. How do people sign up for the newsletter? Because if they're USA Triathlon members, is it in that newsletter or is it a separate newsletter that is specific for the DEIA initiatives?
No, so this would just go out in like, yeah, if you're a USA Triathlon member, it was in, one of our newsletters. It's also, the application can be found on our LinkedIn. There was a post about it. And then our Instagram had a post about it as well as again, please, if you're having trouble finding the application, just email me and I'm happy to send that out to people directly as well. Because again, the voices of the community inform the work that we're doing here, and I can't do it without the community.
Mm, all right. Email Megan to get this information or go to LinkedIn or to Instagram or to the website. So there's multiple ways that you can get involved with the first initiative, which is the DEIA committee and the two grants. So I Endeavors and what's the other one?
So try endeavors. So similar to
Try
like,
Endeavors.
just like try beginner's luck. So it's kind of catchy here. So endeavor try or try endeavor, you can call it either one. It's people that want to try something, right? So these are like your startup businesses. They want to get some seed money to get something launched and off the ground. They want to try, right? Try a new group, try a new
I
organization,
can
try and have
do
impact in a certain
that.
way.
Yes.
Separate from our community impact grant, which will be for more established organizations. Those are those ones that they're already doing the good work. They're out there, they know what they're doing, but they need that extra boost to take things to the next level, to get more people involved, to reach out to the community further. So those are the two pathways at this point that we've got going on here.
Awesome. So let's talk about some initiatives. We have the pathways. What are some of the initiatives that you're working on for all of the different affinity groups that you are representing?
Yeah. So again, I think these are a great start. And those will be ways that organizations can tap into um, different resources. But I think long term, my goal is to have like 6 different grant programs, right? So how do we break it down so that people can get um, the support that they need specifically, if that makes sense? So meeting individuals where they're at, providing that tailored support. So I'd like to see, some success from these 2 grants, and then, eventually like an athlete grant, race director, coach, and club grant, so that people slot in where it makes sense and where they need support. And again, I think it goes back to what I was saying before. It's more than just here's money, good luck. I think it's a mutually beneficial partnership where the community is telling us what they need, and then we figure out how to work together to get that to them, right? Whether that's more education, more awareness, right? We have a large platform. So how do we get some of these people that are doing awesome things, more awareness, more connected to each other, getting them access to maybe people they might not have access to, right? Celebrity triathletes, things of that nature. I've got big vision here. So, as you know, Mashonda. But yeah, I think tailoring it to more individual needs, will help so that people can find what it is they're looking for when they're maybe a beginner coming into the sport or someone that needs that extra support.
What are some of the other things coming in the pipeline for the rest of the year from this department? Like, are there activities, events, forums that people can be looking out for the rest of the year?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I'll be at, our multi-sport festival coming up in June, as well as our nationals in Atlantic City. Hoping to connect with some people live that I've either met, just via Zoom or via phone call. And then beyond that, I think the launch of this grant program will help inform the direction that we go, right? So that'll be a process that these grants have been launched. We'll kind of review them with an equitable board of internal and external people to decide who, the winners are. And then I think coming alongside them to really help support the work that they're doing in their communities. And again, long term, I'd like to see this be a fully fledged program where we're giving multiple grants within each of these different 6 sectors. And the work is really supporting and elevating those communities, so that we can continue to grow the sport in a way that makes sense for everyone.
So my brain is churning,
All
and
right,
I
let's
want to
hear
make sure
it. Mhm.
make sure that I'm understanding as well.
Mhm.
So, are the initiatives centered more around grants versus uh like programs? And is that the main way to target it? Like, is that the main way that you all feel it's best to handle DEIA from a whole perspective?
Yeah, well, again, I'm new, so I'm gonna keep trying new things until I figure out what makes the most sense. But
Okay.
at this point, I think my job is to let the community inform what's needed. And so that's where I've decided that coming alongside and partnering with or elevating communities that are doing this amazing work is what I'm hearing, right? So I'm taking what I'm hearing and trying to put it into actionable tasks. And I think that's where also the dividing of the two different categories is what's important too, right? Because the Endeavor Try would be more of like a startup program that would probably need a lot more help and resources in terms of like, you're a total startup and we can, how can we get you off the ground, versus a community impact might be more of a partnership or a mutually, moving forward process. So I see that as like a big part of the work. I mean, and then continuing to elevate, right, and to market the work, right? So you and I have talked about, some different, maybe potentially continued panel discussions. Like if anyone hasn't watched our Black History Month panel, that was amazing. And I'd love and encourage them to go back and watch that. But I think continuing to connect with the community and make sure they're getting what they need is my main role. And again, launching this more built out grant program seems to be what I'm hearing. Grant partnership, I would more so call it, almost seems to be the more immediate work, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's in your brain? What are you looking for more of, I guess?
That's a very good question. I don't
Mhm.
know. No, I do know.
Yeah.
I think when talking about DEIA from a whole lens perspective, it is about underserved populations. Yes, it is about those who are not able-bodied and being able to participate. It is about those who may have gender, uh, I don't know if it's gender affirming, but being able to sense like, where are we in this sport and how are we making the world better for these communities?
Mm-hmm.
And so in thinking about it, I remember Jaja during our conversation speaking about representation and how important that it matters. And
Mm-hmm.
so in thinking about, and I think that's kind of the question in terms of the grants questions is,
Mm-hmm.
I think grants are great, but what systemically is being done to eradicate
Mm-hmm.
unspoken rules and the unspoken, let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's kind of like my question, especially as there are outside forces that are still trying to be more divisive than unifying. And so wanting
Mm-hmm.
to see what does that look like from a whole perspective,
Mm-hmm.
from the top of our governing body, and how will it trickle down?
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. So at a broader, like all USAT level. Yeah. Well, I think it speaks volumes that, DIA is one of our guiding principles and pillars. And so it is, worked and threaded throughout the organization. So, right, internally meeting with each of the teams and seeing how do we thread that work into their goals, if it's not already, right? So how do we get representation at all levels across, the grassroots pipeline all the way up to the top, things of that nature. I just lost my train of thought. We have initiatives company-wide that I guess I would say, yeah, definitely are DEIA, right? So how do we grow our para development series? So that's a series for para athletes to find a pipeline potentially to the Olympics, right? So how do we take that race from that series from where it is today and get it even further, right? Have more races, and that's where things like, how do we help our race directors, provide education to our race directors to put on para races, provide potentially financial support if needed. And then again, how are we talking about all of these things and marketing all of these things so that people are aware that they belong in this community? So yeah, I think awareness is a huge piece of, again, that's why I prefer to call it a partnership when we talk about like grants, where it would be, beyond just like you said, grants are great, but that's not the fixing the whole problem, right? We need the sport to look differently. So when people are doing amazing things, how are we need to market it better. We need to connect the different pieces better so that yeah, our Paris series goes from here, up to here. Our kids series, right? We've got kids, an amazing kids program, continuing to build our, our high school and college programs so that people see themselves in the sport. So yeah, one thing that's pretty cool is we just signed on a university, Gallaudet University. So that is an amazing thing that will be new in, triathlon community. And so, yeah, I think continuing to take what's being done, but take it to the next level, including, yeah, all of that encompasses, like we were talking about, making sure that representation is happening in the sport. And I think that's where the work needs to be done. And that's where taking what's being done, but escalating it and putting high priority on it is really important.
I love that. I was just at Gallaudet earlier today. So
You were?
I was. I go there
Okay.
very often. It's
Okay.
one of my, yeah, anyway, I go there often. Yes. So
Okay.
I'm really excited about that. But so I'm thinking about, since we're talking about Gallaudet, I'm thinking about like Howard and the swim team. And I remember in terms of recruiting for uh, the pipeline for elite. I'm thinking about how Gwen Jurgensen was recruited because she was a swimmer.
Mhm.
How are we looking to diversify elite athletes on that pipeline to the Olympics for people of color
Mhm.
specifically?
So I think one person, one group of people. So I think most people know we had a Black History Month scholarship that we awarded to one of our coaches here, but not just our coach, but his entire community. Essentially, he'll be working side by side with um, two pastors as well as an entire community center. And his goal is to, like, he works within high schools. He's very well connected within the community. His goal is to create a Black triathlete team that would take things to the next level in terms of, he's got a couple kids that run track or, are interested in, are really, really top level track runners and might be interested in trying triathlon or know how to, he'll use this grant money, he said, to buy bike trainers, right? So they may need assistance with the bike, but they're really good runners, but then the community center has the pool. So he's trying to piece all these things together as with the connections that he has within that community.
But this is I think that's on a different level. Like, I think that's good for great, raising up youth,
Yeah.
but like these are people who can be recruited because they are, top swimmers that can be converted. So I'm just seeing, like, are there programs in mind to, like, to get more diversity on our elite teams?
I think that's why I was sharing his story, because I think that's the goal, is to get it from the ground up, right? So continuing to build our kids program so that kids from the most youngest levels are interested in triathlon or even know what it is, right? I don't think I knew what triathlon was when I was, until a year ago, right? When I did my first triathlon. So and then taking ideas like that, where someone has a really large reach within the community and they have a space to do it, and getting people interested at a young age to then become elite. I think everything starts with and this is my social work background, with education and with our young people, right? So if we're not feeding into that pipeline in that way, then it's hard to just get to the elite. So, but I'm open to ideas because I don't have them all, because I'm new here. So what's your, I feel like you've got something on your mind.
No, I just wanted to know, like, I
Yeah.
know, like, the recruiting, I think about Gwen Jorgensen's story and how she was recruited, and I think about other people and how they're recruited through these pipeline systems that are already established at the university level, which is why I
Yeah.
was asking about, like Howard being one of the only HBCUs with a swim team, and their swim team is, they're good.
Yeah.
So just trying to see how we can grow and if those are conversations that are being had. But I don't want to
Oh, for sure.
harp.
I think that's happening like at our, we have a specific team dedicated to college and high school. So they're definitely, that's a huge priority for them.
Well,
But I think from my social work background, I see it. Yeah, I just want people to see themselves in the sport. So I think that's where it goes back to representation
okay.
and and funneling from the ground up. Is
Well,
again is just sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 no. I don't want to belabor the issue, and um but I get it, and we'll look forward to seeing the evolution as it evolves. And so
Yeah.
hopefully we'll see more recruits coming in from various areas and impact various areas that can perhaps be trained up as well. So with that said, I know we have been talking for a very long time, and I know you have a lot of things to do, but I am so grateful for you. We do have one little small portion to handle business, and that is rapid fire. Um,
Uh-oh, now I'm nervous.
you should be. No, I'm just kidding. You shouldn't be. Rapid fire. So with that said, thank you so much for taking time. I know DEIA it's just not an easy subject or an easy area. And so it takes someone with patience, due diligence, and passion to really spearhead this. And so, Megan, I do believe that you are the right person, and really grateful that you are spearheading these efforts at USAT. Even if I ask you hard questions and you're like, I'm going to kill Mashonda, it's okay.
But
I am just
that's
grateful.
where the real work happens, right? Because I think that we need to have these honest conversations. You and I talked about this. I don't know all the answers, I don't at all, but having real and honest conversations and challenging each other, is where the work gets done, and I am so open to having those conversations and having, people bring me ideas and challenge me because otherwise it's not going to get done, right? That's how we do the work.
Yeah, no, I love it. Um, and I appreciate you not straying away from the tough questions and willing to do the work and, get gritty with it, as they would say, right? Like get in there and
Yeah.
get in there and do the grit. All right. With that said, rapid fire.
All
Are you
right, let's
ready?
do it. Let's do it. Mhm.
Swimming in a pool or swimming in a lake?
Lake. Yeah, lake season in the Midwest is the best. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Audiobook, podcast, music, or silence when you train?
Music.
Music. All right. What's your favorite music artist?
Pink. Mhm.
Aha. Do you have a favorite song?
Raise Your Glass or All I Know So Far.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, how do you decompress?
Working out. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. What or who inspired you?
Oh gosh. So many people. Uh my friends, my family, people fighting for really hard things against all odds, right? Especially in the world we live in right now. Um, yeah, people that are passionate and motivated and continue to work hard even when the odds are against them.
I love it. Dream training partner, alive or historical?
Um, oh my gosh, I never thought about this. I don't know why I want to go back to Pink because she's not like a triathlete, but she's so fit because she has to train for all those shows she does. So I don't
And
know.
she's
I just want to
cool.
beat her. So she's really fun. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Are you a transition minimalist, Goldilocks, or kitchen sink space hoarder?
Am I a what?
Are you a transition minimalist, meaning you take just the enough? Goldilocks, everything is just right. or kitchen sink space hoarder? You bring everything and extras.
I think the minimalist one, just in life, you would say?
Well, transition, like, your transitions.
I think minimalist, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, this is a good beginner question. She's like, I
I'm like, I
get
don't know
this.
which one I am. I haven't done enough of this to know.
And usually we ask, do you pee on the bike or get off and take a proper pee break? But in this case, have you worn a wetsuit yet?
Yes, just my friend loaned me one. Yeah.
This might be a little uncomfortable. Did you pee in the wetsuit?
No, I think the race was too short that I didn't. That's an
Okay.
interesting question.
I know. So usually like with newbies, it's hard to ask that question. I got to figure out a different one. But what was the greatest thing that you took away from your triathlon experience this last year, your first one?
The environment, like it was fun, especially being a competitive athlete, just being back in a hyped up environment like that just gets me excited.
All right. Well, let's get hyped up for Megan Zablock. I said it right?
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's get hyped up. Thank you so much for being on the Try Beginner's Luck podcast. For those of you who are new to the podcast, please like and subscribe to us so that you can get these notifications, even though we are taking a little break for the summer, but you can still have plenty of episodes, actually over 115 of them to listen to get you through your summer, to get you through the summer. We do have Ask a Coach on YouTube, so be sure to go on YouTube, Ask a Coach. If you have questions, we have coaches, 2 resident coaches who will be gracious to answer your questions. And with that said, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win. I am Mashonda Miles, also known as Mashonda Shines, and Megan and I are out. Peace. Bye, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to this episode. We need your help so we can continue to try at TBL. So for more information on where you can find and subscribe to this podcast, visit www.trybeginnersluck.com. And don't forget, whenever you try beginner's luck, you always win.